Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Do you know who's having a bad day? Well, his name is Richard Allen, the alleged Delphi murderer. John Pryor cashes out on the sale of the Chad Daybell house. Guess who is representing the alleged Matthew Perry's drug dealer? You say Fani, I say Fani, but her daughter got arrested. Wait for the reason why this mom left her toddler at home, and then our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it.
All right, lawyer.
Good day, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Scott Reich. This is Crime Talk. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you do, leave me a comment below, and yes, hit that little bell so you receive notifications of when we go live or put up new content. Before we get to the docket, let's pay some bills. How are we going to do that? Well, need you all to go to CrimeTalkSearch.com and sign up for that background subscription service. Okay, you can cancel at any time, but while you have that subscription, you can do as many background searches as your little heart desires, and you are going to literally get a background search done of somebody while you're waiting, and you're going to get a report sent to you, and it's going to have information as to whether they're on one of those public registries, if you know what I'm talking about. Are they married? Are they divorced? Do they have a criminal history? Do they live with their mother in their basement? Yes, those types of things you want to know, ladies and gentlemen. And the way you're going to do that, like I said, is go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up for that subscription today. You're going to be happy that you did. We use this all the time, and you just never know what's going to pop up. CrimeTalkSearch.com. All right, let's go ahead and open the record for September 4th, 2024. And first on the record is, that's right, Richard Allen. Who is having a bad day? Yes, Richard Allen and his attorneys, because the special judge, Francis C. Gull, is not going to allow Richard Allen's defense attorneys to present its third-party murder theory in court. Now, in the order that came down today, Judge Gull granted most of the state's motion in limine seeking to prohibit the Odinism theory from being part of the case. Now, for those who may not know or don't recall, Richard Allen is charged with 4 counts of murder dating back to February of 2017 in regards to the death of Abby Williams and Libby German near the Monon High Bridge in Delphi. Now, the Indiana State Police announced his arrest back in October of 2022, more than 5 years after the girls were killed. Now, since then, the case has been bogged down by some contentious legal back and forth that involved not only the attorneys, but the judge herself. And Allen's lawyers have contended that someone else killed the girls, outlining their theory that a group of Odinists were responsible for the death of the girls. Now, the defense first revealed its alternative murder theory in its motion for a Franks hearing, challenging the validity of the search warrant granted for Allen's home. Now, the defense has tried to focus on multiple individuals who it maintained are adherents of Odinism, which is a pagan Nordic religion co-opted by white supremacists. Now, Allen's lawyers have attempted to shift the blame for the murders to these individuals in several pleadings that they've filed throughout the case. Now, the prosecution has maintained that the defense has relied on nothing but speculation and hearsay and has not produced any specific evidence tying any third-party perpetrator to the killings. Now, the prosecutor filed a motion in limine asking the court to bar the defense from mentioning the alternative murder theory suspects or any third-party perpetrators during the trial. So in the judge's order that came down today, September 4th, Judge Gull sided with the prosecution, writing that the burden was on the defendant to show the nexus between Odinism cult or ritualistic killings and specific individuals cited in the defense pleadings. Now, she noted the case law is quite clear that the nexus must be based on not on speculation, conjecture, rumors, or hearsay, but rather on admissible evidence. She also noted that the defense had failed to produce admissible evidence demonstrating such a nexus during the hearings that were held last month. Now, the court states in the order that the court is not going to permit the evidence to be submitted by the defense in support of their arguments regarding third-party perpetrators in the trial of this case, as the probative value of such evidence is greatly outweighed by confusion of the issue and its potential to mislead the jury. The judge noted that the ruling came despite objections from the defense, but she did leave a small door open for the defense by writing that the court would allow evidence to support an offer of proof at the trial if one is made by counsel. Now, the jury selection is set to start October 14th, with jurors coming from Allen County and then transported to Carroll County for Richard Allen's trial. That trial is scheduled to wrap up sometime in mid-November. Now, that's a lot of information that we provided to you. You would think that the special judge, Francis C. Gull, would have issued a lengthy order explaining her rationale for this, but she does not. Let me show you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the court's order. So everything that I explained to you, I explained in a little greater detail than the judge explained her order. This is the gut of her case. I think it's just important to note. As it relates to paragraph 7, the burden is on the defendant to show a nexus between Odinism, cult, or ritualistic killing, Brad Holder, Patrick Westfall, Johnny Messer, Elvis Fields, Ned Smith, Rod Abrams, Keegan Klein, Jerry Klein, Ron Logan, and the murders of the two victims. The case law is quite clear that the nexus must not be based on speculation, conjecture, rumors, or hearsay, but rather on admissible evidence. The court finds the defense has failed to produce the admissible evidence demonstrating the nexus between Odinism, cult, or ritualistic killer, Brad Holder, Patrick Westfall, Johnny Messer, Elvis Fields, Ned Smith, Rod Abrahams, Keegan Klein, Jerry Klein, Ron Logan, and the murders. Therefore, the court grants paragraph 7 of the state's motion in limine over defense objection. That's it. Now, she does state in the previous paragraph, although I think technically there should have been more than one paragraph. This is just, in my opinion, a very lazy order. She states, the court, having had the state's motion in limine under advisement, following a hearing conducted on August 1st and having heard and considered the evidence admitted, exhibits, arguments of counsel, defendant's supplemental submission regarding state's motion in limine, and the state's response to defendant memorandum of law, grants paragraph 1 through 6 over defendant's objection, and grants paragraph 8 through 12 over defendant's objection. And then I talked to you about paragraph 7 already. Pretty lazy. Not issue, analysis, rule of law, conclusion, just denied. She could have done this from the bench at that hearing if that's what she was going to do. She is not going to be nominated for the appellate courts in the great state of Indiana writing like this. I've seen third graders that could write a little more thorough paper there. Now, does this surprise me? No. Based upon the reports that we had from the hearing, it didn't look good. And I said all along, when you have a alternate suspect, you have to show that basically the people were there, that they're the ones that did it. They had the opportunity, or they've done this before. Not just, hey, we think the Odinist did it, and that's it. But, and this is where I think a lot of times attorneys get wrapped around the axle, is they want to litigate this stuff, where they could have just laid a bombshell at trial and go into this. And a lot of this stuff is stuff that could have been done on cross-examination of a lot of these witnesses, kept them completely off guard. And now, through their over-litigation, the judge has determined that it cannot come in and will not be presented to the jury in any way. Sometimes people get wrapped around the axle. They get so entrenched in their litigation and their motion drafting skills, and they want to argue it, and they think they're going to win this case on some great legal argument. No. How many times have I said that before, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, occasionally you're going to win. Maybe you'll get a motion to suppress granted. No. Most trials come down to who has the best facts. That's why you send your investigators out. That's why you subpoena all those records. You subpoena both sides. Let's get emails from this person to this person. Let's see what was going on. Who didn't produce things like that? That's where cases are won in a criminal proceeding. Rarely is the law going to help the defense. And I told you all that alternate suspect wasn't going to carry the day unless you could actually show somebody was there standing over the bodies of those two young girls when the police showed up. Well, there's nobody there. So now Richard Allen just simply has to go based upon general denial. It wasn't me, right? The prosecution always has to prove that it was Richard Allen, not someone who looked like him, not someone who uses his identity, but it was in fact Richard Allen that killed those two young girls. We know they got some good argument that it had to have been more than one person that could have done that. But of course, we've got the alleged confessions coming in of Mr. Allen to his wife and mother and everybody apparently in the jail, the prison. Things aren't looking good for Mr. Allen. He is not having a good day at all. All they had to do was call me. I could have walked him through the analysis. I thought it was a no-brainer. Sometimes people get too wrapped around motions practice. Just go try the damn case. Next on the docket, John Pryor cashes out. That's right. The Chad Daybell home has been sold. And the Idaho home, once owned by Chad Daybell, is now finally under new ownership. A couple in Idaho bought the home and started a nonprofit called S.J. Healing Crossroads, and they intend to destroy the property. Now, it is obviously the property at the center of the deaths of Tammy Daybell, Tylee Ryan, and J.J. Vallow. Now, obviously, that's the home, the residence where J.J. and Tylee's remains were found. Well, and Tammy's on top of that. A lot of death going on there at that house. Anyway, it was determined by a jury that Tammy Daybell was killed in October, and almost a year later in June, the children's body were found in the backyard. Now, Chad Daybell and his second wife, Lori Vallow, have been obviously convicted of their murders, and a jury sentenced Chad Daybell to death in June, and Lori Vallow was handed a life sentence last year. And don't forget, Lori Vallow is still being held in Arizona, awaiting a second trial for the deaths of her fourth husband, Charles Vallow. So, back in June of this year, after the trial, John Pryor, who got the property as far as his legal fees, put the property up for sale for $350,000. Now, apparently this couple, who want to remain anonymous for now, they stepped in, they purchased the home and started this S.J. Healing Crossroads. The couple said they purchased the home because they were concerned it would become an Airbnb to be exploited as a macabre tourist attraction. The couple said they feel compassion for the families in the community, and they didn't want to see it purchased by someone whose intentions were inappropriate. There were rumors about how somebody wanted to buy it and turn it into this Airbnb, so that this couple decided they just weren't going to let that happen. So the couple wants to start a new chapter and transform the site into a place of peace, healing, and hope. And the couple said they have spoken with some of the victims' family members, and they welcome their input. The couple that bought the place says that they hope that everybody knows that this is coming from their heart. Apparently, the mission statement is to provide the community help and support for those affected by the traumatic experience or loss, and they hope that this is the first of many projects that they can do in the community. The nonprofit first step is to demolish the home as well as any other structures on the property, and nothing can be done to make it a good place for the victims' families, considering what happened there, but the nonprofit would like to see how the community will further come together on their behalf. The community, they said, has also been traumatized, and we feel that those people who drive in front of the property daily need a different look for the community. Now, the nonprofit is raising funds to demolish the home and other structures on the property, and so they also are looking for volunteers to maintain the grounds until the home is demolished. The nonprofit is also welcoming ideas on how to memorialize the space, though they said the details need to be ironed out depending on zoning issues. Well, John Pryor got paid on top of what he may have gotten paid early on, whatever there was left of the insurance money, probably a couple $100,000. $300,000 to devote several years of your life to that? Yeah, wasn't the best payout, I guess. but it sure beats working for a living, right? All right, next on the docket, Matthew Perry. Guess who is representing Jasveen Sangha? That is the woman who is alleged to be the drug dealer of the ketamine that was sold to Matthew Perry. So Miss Sangha is accused to be the drug dealer known as the ketamine queen. But her attorney says that the alleged ketamine queen has no association with Matthew Perry, despite being charged in connection with his death. Guess who represents her? Mark Garagos's firm. That's right. They're representing the ketamine queen. And he went on the Today Show today and tried to distance the ketamine queen from the late Friends actors who died from a ketamine overdose. Now, Mr. Garagos vehemently denied that the ketamine queen is connected to Matthew Perry in any way at all. And the ketamine queen is one of 5 people charged with Matthew Perry's death. And according to the federal prosecutors, claimed that she viewed herself as a celebrity drug dealer with high quality goods. Some good stuff, apparently. Some good ketamine. Anyway, Mr. Garagos says that people are trying to say that the ketamine queen is somehow associated with Matthew Perry, but that is not the case. And there are 2 sides, and the whole truth will come out for the trial. It's set in March. I can't wait. Now, having recently done a distribution of narcotics resulting in the death of a juvenile, I'm curious to see how Mr. Garagos is going to handle this case. If they can show that the ketamine queen gave the drugs or knew that they were going to Matthew Perry, and obviously he died from the ketamine overdose, and they can say the ketamine came from that particular drug dealer, the ketamine queen allegedly, yes, she could be found guilty. Of course, we'll give her the presumption of innocence because we do that for everybody who hasn't pled guilty or been found guilty by a jury of their peers. So remember that, ladies and gentlemen. But we'll be following the ketamine queen case. All right, next, you say Fani, I say Fani, but guess what? Her daughter got arrested. That's right. The district attorney, Fani Willis, showed up at the scene of her daughter's recent arrest with, guess who? Former prosecutor/lover Nathan Wade. Well, that's all kind of interesting because remember, they both testified under oath that their relationship had ended months and months and months and months and months ago. Now, the Fulton County DA was seen with the former ex-Trump prosecutor, Mr. Wade, after her pregnant daughter, Kenyana Willis, who's 25, was pulled over last month for driving while using a cell phone and then arrested for driving on a suspended license. That's right, they got the body cam footage. Anyway, the cops asked Ms. Willis and Mr. Wade if they were, in fact, Kenyana's parents. But the DA told them, I'm the mom, he's just a friend. Now, the pair who came under fire, obviously, for their romance while prosecuting the former president, Donald Trump, for election interference in Georgia, have both separately testified that their affair ended last year. But they both arrived rather quickly, casually dressed, when they heard that Fani's pregnant daughter was under arrest. Now, you can see from this footage, it shows the 2 lawyers pulled up in a black Ford SUV, and the daughter had already been taken to the county jail and stayed on scene for around 5 minutes. Willis could be heard calmly saying it was news to her that her youngest daughter's license was suspended. And Mr. Wade quietly listened before asking why the cops pulled her over, because he wanted to know if there was probable cause or they were profiling her, I'm sure. Anyway, Miss Willis gave the officers her license and asked them not to put her address in the report, seemingly aware that the address could be abused if it was out in the public domain. She said, y'all can have my address. The rest of the world, no. Anyway, after the video showed Miss Willis leaving the scene in her daughter's Nissan Altima while Mr. Wade drove away in the car that they had arrived in. Now, the daughter told the police the reason she was using her phone while behind the wheel was because her mom was calling her about her pregnancy. Now, the daughter, who was in the car with her 26-year-old sister, Nia, claimed that she was unaware her license had been revoked since May of this year for allegedly previously driving while it was suspended. And as I said, the only reason this story has any significance was that Miss Willis and Miss Wade came under fire earlier this year for their clandestine relationship, which they claim began months after Willis brought Wade onto the Trump case, and where he was paid hundreds of thousands of dollars and possibly laundered the money back to her through cash payments and trips. And they both did testify that their relationship was over. Maybe they're just friends, hanging out. I'm sure that's all it was. Anyway, next on the docket, wait until you hear what this mother did while she left her toddler home alone. Once again, some body-worn camera video shows a woman accused of an ugly crime after police said she put vanity ahead of her maternal responsibilities. 25-year-old Jessica Renteria was arrested after detectives said that she left her 3-year-old son alone at their apartment while she went to get a cosmetic procedure completed. Well, neighbors called the police after they found the child wandering around the Park Central complex located in Doral, Florida. Now, body cam video shows police tending to the child. As you can see, hey, little buddy, what's your name? As an officer asks the child, where's your mom? Anyway, where do you live? Do you know where Papi and Mommy are? Well, guess what? Investigators ultimately spoke with Miss Renteria, known on social media as the real Pocahontas. That's right, Pocahontas. Left the boy that day to get some cosmetic work done. Officers roamed the apartment complex as they spoke to neighbors in an attempt to solve the mystery. And as you can see right here, said the officers, the neighbors saw him there. He was sleeping and the neighbors were sleeping as well. Anyway, police knocked on the apartment doors and they searched for the mother of the child. In their police report, the police say an officer in Spanish, not speaking in Spanish, knocked on as many doors as possible. Any chance, is this your missing kid? Anyway, 3 hours later, her son apparently walked out of the apartment. Let me see that. Police said that surveillance video shows Renteria leaving her vacation rental apartment around 10 a.m. 3 hours later, her son walked out, and then it was determined that the child was left without supervision for about 6 hours. I mean, come on, he's 3. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Anyway, the officers questioned the neighbors about Miss Renteria and her son, and they said, yeah, that looks like the lady that left the daughter to go on vacation. Anyway, police would find Renteria a couple of miles away at a surgery center. According to the arrest report, she told officers that a friend was supposed to be watching the child, but when the officers reached out to the friend, he told them he knows the defendant, but at no point in time was he ever asked to take care of the kid. Now, Miss Renteria, who is from Daybell, Florida, was cuffed and taken to jail in a robe and a head wrap. She was charged with child neglect. An arrest warrant was thrown out in court when she attended court on Wednesday. Anyway, she has court again set on December 2nd. And finally today, our dumb criminal of the day. A man faces several charges amid accusations of firing a gun into a home near Daybell, Florida, while intoxicated on Sunday, according to the Volusia County Sheriff's Office. Anyway, deputies said they responded to a home on Evergreen Terrace after a family called 911 when they noticed bullets flying in their home. The reporting party said, I know it went through my son's window, they told the deputies. The deputies evacuated the children and the adults from the home and started searching the area. After searching the neighborhood, it was determined that a nearby neighbor, a guy by the name of Alex Kudlak, was intoxicated and shooting at a tree in his backyard. When confronted, Mr. Kudlak said, you're right, I'm a dumbass. I can't disagree. Anyway, once again, some body cam footage also captures a number of the bullet holes in the fence behind Mr. Kudlak's home near the tree he was accused of shooting at. Now, according to a press release, nobody was injured in the shooting. The homeowner stated that she was simply playing games on the front porch when she heard the shots. That's when her older son came running out with his baby and told me that a bullet came through the window. Next time, think about what you're doing before you start shooting targets, you dumbass. Anyway, Mr. Cudlack was arrested and faces charges of 1 count of shooting into a dwelling, 1 count of using a firearm while under the influence, and 2 counts of child endangerment, and 1 count of criminal mischief. Mr. Cudlack, yes, you are a dumb criminal of the day. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That is so dumb. Thank goodness nobody was hurt. All right, that's all we have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you taking the time. We really, truly do appreciate you. We'll see you next time. And remember, the Constitution matters.